Good evening. I'd like to call this hearing to order. Tonight we will hear feedback on some truly excellent candidates for Columbus City Council. At this point, my colleagues and I have interviewed all the finalists. Their commitment to public service and to this city is admirable. This is a diverse group, a thoughtful, passionate bunch who have much to offer to our city. For a bit of background on why we're all here tonight, on November 6, 2018, Columbus City Councilmember Jiza Page and President Pro Tem Michael Cinziano were elected to county-wide offices. As is stated in our charter and the city's constitution, council has a duty to replace those members via an appointment process. 56 members of the public raised their hands to serve on this body. To any and all who submitted an application, we say thank you. This pool of candidates was spectacular, as you'll see tonight. Council members reviewed resumes, we interviewed candidates, and have narrowed the list to 15 finalists. Tonight is the first ever public hearing on a vacancy appointment. This is a historic moment. Council is opening up the process to be more transparent and inclusive. Tonight is to let the public hear what we've heard in executive session, to ensure that the public has a voice. This hearing is an opportunity for council to listen and get feedback for the appointment to Councilmember Jiza Page's seat. President Pro Tem Cinziano does not take office until March, and we will hold another public hearing in late February to receive input on his appointment to the appointment to that seat. As for tonight's agenda, first finalists will have the opportunity to provide 3 minutes worth of remarks. Finalists will be called in alphabetical order as seen on the agenda. Providing testimony is optional, and there are some finalists who will not be speaking this evening. After we hear from the finalists, we will hear from the community. I will call speakers up in the order in which speaker slips were submitted. This is not an opportunity to demean or belittle the finalist. You can speak in favor of a candidate, or you can speak about the process. That is the scope. I don't use the gavel very often. If it gets out of that scope, I will use it tonight. If you wish to provide written feedback, there are community feedback forms near the doors which you can submit to council staff. You can also email or call our offices. We will not have a hard stop tonight because we want to hear from you. Once again, I want to thank you all for being here. And with that, I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have any comments before we get started. And I want to thank my colleagues and welcome back. This is our first time back in council chamber this year, so welcome back to council. Welcome, President Pro Tem Cinziano. So with that, we'll get started. We're going to go through the finalists in alphabetical order. And so first, I'd like to invite Mr. Nicholas Bankston to the podium. Again, the finalists will be speaking for 3 minutes.
Thank you. To Council President Hardin, Council President Pro Tem Cinziano, Council Members Brown, Remy, and Tyson, and to all the residents assembled here this evening, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I am humbled and honored to stand before you as an applicant for appointment to Columbus City Council. As a Columbus native and a proud graduate of Columbus City Schools and The Ohio State University, I have seen this city grow, and I have grown up with this city. We are in an unprecedented and an exciting time in our city's history, and I am honored to have the potential opportunity to serve on council and to join this dynamic team that will shape our city's future. The issues that will come before this council and the decisions that this body makes in the coming years will have lasting implications for decades to come. I believe that my personal life experiences as well as my professional experience have prepared me for this opportunity, and I would be an asset and complement to this council team. Columbus is on the rise. We're the fastest growing city in the Midwest. We have the lowest unemployment rate in our city's history and a thriving, robust economy. These are the ingredients that make up the recipe for a thriving city. But with growing and great progress comes great challenges. We know that still there is 1/3 of our residents that are not sharing in our city's success. We still have work to do. And I know firsthand that this council recognizes and understands these challenges and continues to evolve as our city evolves and has made tremendous progress to advancing policies that uplift every resident in every neighborhood. But yet there is still hard work that has to be done. And there's no one person, there's no one solution that will solve these challenges. I myself don't have all of the answers, but I know it takes a team. It takes the Columbus way. That great spirit of collaboration, focus, and determination that this body exemplifies. It is with that same spirit that I would bring to City Council if appointed, and work every single day in that same spirit for the people of Columbus. The challenges we face are large. The issues that will come before this body are great, but collectively, we can solve them. It will take all of us, every resident here, every resident watching, public sector, private sector, nonprofit, faith-based, and community leaders, all of us working together to build a stronger Columbus. Thank you for your consideration. Thank you for this opportunity. And I want to thank all of the residents for being here this evening. God bless you, and God bless the city of Columbus.
Thank you, Mr. Bankston. Next, we'll have candidate Michele Moskowitz Brown. Welcome to council.
Thank you so much, Council President Hardin and council members. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be here today to address the council, to address our community members, residents who are here. Also wanted to acknowledge a wonderful conversation that the candidates had with the new Leaders Council at the library on Tuesday. Thanks to them and the League of Women Voters for ensuring that so many residents have had a chance to have an opportunity to have great conversations about the issues our city faces. I'm honored to be here tonight and to share why I would like to join this team at City Council. From growing up in the housing projects of Brooklyn to raising my children here in Columbus City Schools, I know what it means to ensure and make sure that everybody has equitable access to resources. I also understand and recognize that to defy generational issues, it's going to take a lot of time and very equitable access to our community's resources, and that's the kind of work I want to be doing. For the past 22 years, I've served in management and leadership positions in the nonprofit community with a community focus. Each and every day, I determine how to stretch a dollar, how to provide critical resources, how to raise money, how to measure results. And this is work that I do with establishing shared visions with our community to move forward together. At Local Matters, I've also had the opportunity to work with the city and on the first ever Columbus-Franklin County Local Food Action Plan, and I was able to see firsthand how this body really dedicates itself to important planning processes and all of that it takes to get those processes implemented and to serve our community members. In my day-to-day work, I'm focused on critical food education and access, working with over 22,000 individuals from preschoolers to seniors, connecting me to the most important issues of our time, from people who have recently experienced homelessness to people who are experiencing substance use disorder. Seeing this firsthand, I can see what it's like to help people lift themselves up with supportive services, helping them feed themselves and their families, despite the barriers that they face. That experience, alongside of my experience with governance and financial statements, will make me an asset to this team working with you to help understand our budget and help residents understand the process as well. I've been thinking about this position as working on 3 levels. We've got our defense, we've got our offense, and we've got our dream space. On the defense, it's those basics: jobs, housing, transportation that's convenient for all, quality education. On offense, we've got a plan for the future. What will the changing markets mean and technology mean? It's going to change everything from how we get food to how we get where we're going. And in regards to dreaming, how could we look at safety differently? What if people who had less resources had better access to health care versus just being lucky that they have any health coverage at all? What might that look like? What if you were getting services through if you were getting support through Jobs and Family Services and you got an annual pass, not just one day, to all the cultural amenities in our city? What would that dream look like? Those are the kind of things I want to do: defense, offense, and then dreaming with the residents of our city and with this team. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Moskowitz Brown. The next applicant to come before council is Stephanie Lynn Coe. Ms. Coe, welcome back to council.
Thank you. Council President Hardin, members of council, and the community. Before I start, I want to echo what the last candidate did as well. The forum on Tuesday evening gave us a chance to share our thoughts with each other and with the community, and I thought it was a wonderful opportunity for us to get to know each other better and to know more about what the citizens are looking for through their questions. So I thank everyone for participating in that and for being here tonight. I am Stephanie Coe, and I believe that I'm an ideal candidate for the open city council seat to join this team. Now I want to share with you some reasons why. I've been a community advocate for over a decade on the Southwest side, working with the Southwest Area Commission, which has meant we've addressed issues like sidewalks and community involvement, getting people to actually come out and participate, which I think we all can agree is sometimes a challenge, as well as blighted properties or zoning issues that have negative impacts on our community and turning those into positive impacts. We've worked on development and crime as well. I'm an attorney and launched and developed a legal department for an international company over the last 12 years, working to advocate for our business, our employees, and our customers. I believe it's critical for council to have diversity. That can mean a number of things. As a woman, as a bisexual woman and member of the LGBTQ community, but specifically I want to address geographic diversity. And I think that I bring a neighborhood perspective from a part of the city that has long been underrepresented on the south and southwest side. I shared this during the forum on Tuesday evening. To put it simply, I'm a child advocate. In order to advocate for children, it is key to address issues like affordable housing, quality schools and education, solutions to the opioid epidemic, and specifically good paying jobs. Columbus is known for the Columbus Way. It's already been mentioned one time tonight. The partnership between the public sector and the private sector. I think this is important to continue, and I want to see this continue. But I think we need to think about a new Columbus Way, a partnership between the business community and our neighborhoods, giving neighborhood leaders the opportunity to help solve issues that impact their immediate community. Business is critical to our city's success, but we must come together to truly effectively address the challenges we face as a city. I want to share two specific areas that I intend to focus on, regardless of whether or not I'm appointed to any of these open seats. Those two projects are sort of the South Gateway. I've mentioned this in a few meetings, that if you come into our city from the north side or come in 670, you see great improvements, economic development, and those kinds of things. If you come from the south side, come up 71 or across 104, we haven't seen the same kind of development. And I would like to see us continue to take some of the positives we created around the city into that south corridor to make the south side gateway to our city just as effective. And finally, I want to focus on listening to all neighborhoods. Critical focus has been placed on the Hilltop in South Linden, which I fully support, but I think it's important to listen to all of our neighbors across the city and figure out how to help them address their issues while we're still focused on those critical spots. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to address all of you tonight and look forward to continuing to serve beside you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stephanie Lynn Coe. Next applicant to come before council is Lourdes Barroso de Padilla.
I love our city. I was raised by this city, a first-generation American who felt oftentimes like the deck was stacked against me. But thanks to our city's unique brand of community, I was afforded incredible mentors and champions that invested in me. They opened up doors for me that allowed me to learn about the value of access, and equity, values that I have carried with me in my career and my life as a mother, as a wife, and as a leader. I believe that the vitality of people and the vibrancy of community is better when we ensure that we are leaving and no one in our community behind. It's been my life's work as a grassroots community advocate and as a boardroom executive to uplift the voices of people just like me. People from families just like mine who often live paycheck to paycheck in jobs that pay the bills but do not feed the soul. These values, experience, and perspective is what I will bring to the Columbus City Council, because I believe that our city is on the precipice of greatness. Columbus is the second largest city in the Midwest, and how we prepare our people and our communities for the many obstacles and opportunities that our continued growth brings is in our hands. We are recognized for our unique brand of collaboration, the Columbus Way, a brand that is intentionally designed to bring every person in our community along for the ride. I'm excited for the opportunities that will allow us to expand what the Columbus Way means and our ability to collectively allow all boats to rise. We must commit to investing in safe, strong neighborhoods in and in every area of our city. We can affect policies that empower and uplift our neighborhoods from within to leverage their diversity and their vibrancy. Neighborhoods that provide families with affordable housing and opportunities for jobs. We can invest in our immigrant, refugee, and migrant communities that are driving growth in our great city, and with more than 900 immigrant-owned businesses, we can avail ourselves to the value that their entrepreneurial spirit, their grit, and their hustle brings to all of us. And we must ensure that our people are fully employed, earning a living wage that is compatible with a growing city. And without question, we must invest in our young people. This is the work that I'm excited about and the future city that I want to build with all of you and everyone in this room. Council President Hardin, Council Pro Tem Stinziano, Council Members Brown, Remy, and Tyson, thank you for your leadership, thank you for your service, and thank you for this incredible opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Lourdes. The next applicant to come before council is Ms. Nancy Day Akau. Ms. Nancy, welcome back to council.
It is an honor to be here, and I want to share why I want to be a member of Columbus City Council. It's because I am passionate about working hard to make life better for everyone. For the past 6 years, I have been working hard to make life better on the West Side, but I don't want to limit my call to public service to just my side of town. I can do more to help all of Columbus as a member of City Council. My years of experience working in business management and corporate administration in the San Francisco Bay Area, and my 6 years of community advocacy and grassroots organizing in Columbus around the opiate epidemic, homelessness, food insecurity, senior services, and community development can benefit the entire city. If appointed, I will also bring a new dimension of diversity to council. I live and work on a side of town that does not currently have representation on council, and folks on the West Side can't hardly recall when they had a council member. We think it's been about 30 years. My lived experience in this diverse community will be an asset to the Columbus City Council. When I was transferred to the West Side in 2012, I became immersed in a diverse community with a population equal to the city of Dayton, and it has disparate needs. We have rural residents who are losing their way of life to development, new outer belt neighborhoods feeling disconnected, older subdivisions experiencing neighborhood decline, and we have urban neighborhoods under siege where drugs, crime, gunshots, and death have become our norm. When you're a pastor, people of all walks of life tell you about what they're experiencing. They talk about their lives. And there are days when these stories leave me feeling uplifted about all the good things that are happening in Columbus and on the West Side. But other times those stories leave me feeling desperate for hope. I strive to be the hope that people are longing for. Several years ago, I was offered an opportunity to transfer out of the West Side, and I declined because I'm not willing to abandon them. I worked hard to make lives better for them. I advocate on their behalf, and I will bring the same level of commitment and dedication to all of Columbus's neighborhood. If given a privilege of serving on City Council, one of my top priorities will be the opiate epidemic. The opiate epidemic impacts all of our communities here in the city, and by eradicating it, it not only saves lives, it reduces crime, improves the quality of life in all of our neighborhoods, and it will boost our economy. And my other priority is like the mayor's. It's those struggling neighborhoods. I want to help revitalize, not gentrify, but throughout the city of Columbus, not just Linden and the Hilltop. They're ambitious, challenging priorities. Preacher with a microphone, you know that's always dead.
Well, thank you, Ms. Nancy. Did we get a new bell? All right. It is softer. All right. The next applicant to come before council is Mr. Rob Dorrance. Mr. Dorrance, welcome back to council.
I feel like you have a great Price is Right bell or something.
Right.
This is great. President Hardin, President Pro Tem Stinziano, members of council, want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to talk about my interest in serving on Columbus City Council. It's truly an honor to be named as a finalist and be considered for these vacancies. Columbus is at a watershed moment. We're currently enjoying the fruits of the hard work of our city's past and current elected officials and those in the nonprofit and private sectors. At a time in which many Midwestern cities has lost population, Columbus is growing. My wife and I are prime examples of this growth. She moved here for graduate school, and I very smartly followed her shortly thereafter. We called Columbus home for only a few months before we decided this was the city that we wanted to build a life in. This growth obviously brings with it challenges, affordable housing, and sufficient living wage jobs. I personally have seen how housing instability affects our community. For nearly every month over the past 6 years, I volunteered pro bono legal services through the Columbus Legal Aid Society at the Van Buren Family Shelter on the west side. I've sat across too many families to count that have fallen in hard times and can't find affordable housing. I've also seen the toll that unstable housing has on our young people. I've been a volunteer with Central Ohio Big Brothers for over 7 years. During that time, my little brother has moved 5 different times. Each time, the move brings different stressors. A new school, a new neighborhood, sometimes more dangerous than the one they moved from before, lack of transportation. I've seen how our affordable housing problem is personified in a great kid that deserves better. All of our kids deserve better. We are fond of calling Columbus an opportunity city, a moniker that is both proud of our past and an aspirational call to our future. At a time of record low unemployment, many in our community still struggle to provide for their families. According to the most recent Bureau of Labor statistics, 2 out of every 3 families in Columbus metro area make less than $50,000. By trade, I'm a labor lawyer that focuses on workers' issues across Ohio. I've worked with cities and counties all across Ohio implementing legislation to help provide well-paying jobs in their communities. I'm proud to have worked with the City of Columbus and the Columbus Building Trades on a historic community benefit agreement. This agreement puts highly skilled union members to work today while making historic commitments to recruit low-income Columbus residents into apprenticeship programs to provide them with a direct path to the middle class. No single council member is able to confront these challenges alone. It takes a team like this one working with the administration and the community to confront these issues. I know all of you are currently serving on this body, working hard on innovative solutions to these problems and others. I believe that my legal expertise and background would be an asset to this council in confronting these challenges. Again, I thank all of you for the consideration, and whatever the results of this process, I hope to continue to work with all of you on challenging these problems in the future for the city that we love. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dorrance. The next applicant to come before council is Mr. Albert Edmondson. Mr. Edmondson, welcome back to council.
Good evening, Council, Ms. Shannon Hardin, and the rest of the City Council members. As a young soldier sergeant serving in Operation Desert Storm during the Gulf War, I learned that inspired leadership and solid teamwork can motivate people to achieve results that no one thought possible. I have applied lessons learned in the Army to my business in the King Lincoln District on the Near East Side, and to a number of community development initiatives that have helped to unify neighborhoods and strengthen families. My goal is to offer my leadership to the rest of the city as a member of the Columbus City Council. I believe my vision for making Columbus a city that offers more opportunities to its people and empowers them to take advantage of opportunity will help make a huge difference as we move forward, as someone who constantly breaks barriers and brings people together. I know that a focus on unified progress will make Columbus stronger and smarter in the years to come. One of the biggest challenges Columbus has is providing affordable housing for all its residents. I commend Mayor Ginther for prioritizing affordable housing in the city budget. Mayor Ginther is a visionary leader by looking into the city's land bank into a land trust designed to preserve affordable housing in what is becoming an increasingly expensive market that's out of reach for many people. My business is part of a district that has been economically distressed for decades, where families struggle to make ends meet each and every day. But the King Lincoln District is also a magnet of gentrification, as home buyers with access to ample resources renovate and solid structures and continue to make a community one of the hottest housing markets in the Columbus. I want the city to promote housing initiatives to help make it possible for young couples and new graduates to rent or to buy in their neighborhoods where they grew up. Our housing policies should produce affordable apartments and homes in every part of town for people from all backgrounds. Of course, the housing discussion is directly tied to the problem of income, inequality, and workers who are unprepared for the 21st century economics. I want to help make Columbus a national leader in the skilled jobs training. Mayor Ginther is leading the city in job creation, and I want to help him. Mayor Ginther proposed a new $200,000 program for reentry of jobs market from juvenile detention increases overall job readiness funding to $800,000. I plan to work with the mayor's office, local businesses, and young people in neighborhoods who could benefit from the job training and internships. It's time to seriously disrupt the cycle of poverty in our communities. City Council, I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Edmondson. The next applicant to come before council is Michele Favors. Ms. Favors, welcome back to council.
Council President Hardin, Council Pro Tem Stenziano, and the members of Columbus City Council, thank you for providing me with this opportunity to publicly address this council. I believe the decision to pursue a life of public service is based upon a calling. My parents love to tell this story about me. I was probably around the age of 7 or 8. We were traveling on vacation. I believe we were probably in the middle of Georgia when we happened to see a homeless man on the side of the road. The man had a sign up asking for money and a ride, and I begged my parents. Nope, let's be honest. I went into a full temper tantrum and threw a complete fit, begging my parents to turn the car around so we could help this man out. Now, for a little context, my parents were not the type of parents to be tested. In fact, if my sister and I decided that we wanted to express ourselves, they had no problem with respectfully and quickly shutting us down without any hesitation. So needless to say, my parents thought I was absolutely insane and were completely unfazed by my antics. It sounds a little crazy when I say this story, but I believe there's something, there's a little bit of crazy inside of all of us when we finally reach that thing that sets our souls on fire. And as my life started to unfold and my purpose started to reveal itself, I realized that that was the exact moment that sparked my desire to live a life of service. It was in that moment that I recognized the importance of advocating on behalf of those that could not speak for themselves. I am proud to have played a role in the city's efforts to address the neighborhood disparity through the abatement of nuisance properties. Eliminating blight gets to the heart of protecting our public safety and improving the quality of life of our residents. As a zone attorney, I work alongside the leaders of our great city to improve Columbus's neighborhoods and facilitate conversations to address criminal activity, vacancies, abandonment, and blight. Over the past 5 years, I have implemented 2 initiatives to address the city's blight. The Vacant and Abandoned Property Initiative, along with the receivership program, have both addressed blight through enforcement, demolition, and rehabilitation. These initiatives have effectively helped to decrease our vacant and abandoned property count and put these once blighted properties back into the housing market inventory. My role as an attorney extends beyond the courtroom, and my commitment to service does not stop at 5 p.m. Working alongside dedicated community leaders and public servants to improve the quality of life of all of our residents has always been my personal charge. So whether I'm volunteer to speaking with students, organizing food and clothing drives, or attending area commission meetings, I believe I'm living out my calling as realized as a young child through my advocacy and service. I live, work, and play in the city of Columbus, and I believe in the potential of our city to become one of the greatest cities in the world, and I look forward to the opportunity to continue my public service as a member of Columbus City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Favor. The next applicant to come before council is Ms. Katherine Griffiths. Ms. Katherine, welcome back to council.
President Hardin, Councilmember Pro Tem Stinziano, Council Members Tyson, Brown, and Remy, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak before you. My name is Katherine Griffiths, and I would be honored to serve on City Council with you. My parents moved here 54 years ago to operate a small business, and though I have had opportunities to live elsewhere, I have always chosen Columbus as my home. I'm a graduate of Columbus City Schools. Special shout out to Linden Elementary, Ridgeview Raiders, and Centennial Stars. I have a degree from Fisher College of Business and one in political science from The Ohio State University. My parents lived a life that valued hard work, service to others, and a commitment to equity, and they installed those values in me. As I've raised my own children, worked hard in locally owned businesses, worked and volunteered with multiple nonprofit and civic organizations in our community, I've noticed some things I believe we must prioritize. Safe neighborhoods with quality affordable housing, a vibrant business community with living wage jobs, and sustainable development with multimodal transportation networks for all residents in our city to thrive. This council has done important revitalization work fostering safe neighborhoods and investing in quality affordable housing to stabilize individual families. Now is the time to advance evidence-based tools that create structures to protect affordable housing for entire neighborhoods. Tools like community land trusts that have the ability to protect affordable home ownership for working class families and protect those in neighborhoods in perpetuity. When we create structures that integrate housing for both working class families and residents who can afford to live anywhere, we strengthen entire neighborhoods, elevate safety, and improve quality of life for everyone. When housing and transportation are coupled, they make up the largest expense in most households. So rethinking mobility is one of the key opportunities we have to help Columbus thrive. Quality multimodal transportation networks also create economic success by better serving the business community, improving social mobility, and welcoming the people who choose to travel here for pleasure. It just so happens I am a subject matter expert on this topic. I've spent the last 15 years studying transportation, initially out of necessity, then because I saw all the way it moved a variety of other important public policy agendas forward. I've done this work professionally for the last 5.5 years as the executive director of Yay Bikes, and this has given me strong working relationships with CODA, the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, the Ohio Department of Transportation, and our own Department of Public Service, as well as various other partners that are key to improving our transportation networks. Creating a strong multimodal system starts with thinking about how easy or difficult it is for residents to travel from the necessary destinations that are part of a day-to-day life. Work, the grocery store, the doctor's office, school, and how those trips are either enhanced or diminish the quality of life of our residents and our neighborhoods. I'm exactly the person you want on your team as you're thinking about good transportation systems that create success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Griffiths. Next applicant to come before council is Dr. Chanel Jones. Dr. Jones, welcome back to council.
Good evening, Council President Hardin and members of City Council. It is a pleasure to be here tonight. And one of the questions that I am repeatedly asked is, why did I submit an application to be on Columbus City Council? And while I could stand here and give you a bunch of rhetoric and academic jargon, the answer is quite simple: opportunity. The opportunity to continue serving the people of Columbus, the opportunity to take my background as someone from a middle-class working family, a lifelong resident of Columbus, and a graduate of Columbus City Schools to directly impact the people whose lifestyles and situations may or may not mirror mine. The opportunity to take my experience working with different populations throughout our community, hearing their stories, and affecting meaningful change. The opportunity to leverage my academic background coupled with a lifetime of service to apply an empirically based analytical perspective to some of our city's most pressing issues. It is no secret that Columbus is a city bursting with opportunities. It is a bustling and vibrant municipality that continues to grow, but with that growth comes challenges, and with every challenge comes another opportunity. And for me, I have made it a point to not only be intentional about identifying those opportunities, but actually addressing them. For example, we saw an opportunity to diligently work towards improving police-community relations, and we took that opportunity, paired kids with police officers and mentoring dyads, and we called that program the Teen and Police Service Academy. We saw an opportunity to improve public safety in the city of Columbus, and so we started a campaign, and we started a statewide campaign, and we called it Change Starts Here. We saw an opportunity to help prepare students for high school, for college, and we took that opportunity, started a mentoring program, took students on college tours, gave them scholarships, helped them fill out their FAFSA, and we called that program Ascend. And these are just a few. With 18,000 evictions last year alone, we have an opportunity to establish more affordable houses and resources like an eviction prevention assistance program. With 143 homicides in 2017, 102 last year in 2018, we have another opportunity to continue working towards improving public safety. And with a 78% four-year graduation rate in Columbus, we have an opportunity to create more programs to not only help students in school, but outside of schools in their home environment as well. And with the Smart City Initiative, we have the opportunity to leverage the smart circuit and to create more routes in other areas across the city to provide transportation services. And these are just a few. We also have opportunity to improve jobs, health disparities, sustainability, and so much more. And if appointed to Columbus City Council, it would be an honor to work with you all to tap into these opportunities and to continue driving our city forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. The next applicant to come before council is Mr. Rick Neal. Mr. Neal, welcome back to council.
Thank you. This is cool. All right. Thank you, President Hardin, and all members of City Council. My name is Rick Neal, and I am honored to be one of the 15 finalists for appointment to this council. Thank you very much for convening this hearing and giving me, the other finalists, and our supporters the chance to testify this evening. I also want to thank my husband, Tom, and our daughters for being here this evening and for all their love and support as I've gone through this process. I'm seeking a seat on this council because I want to be part of our collective effort to ensure that our city grows and progresses in a way that benefits everyone. It would be an honor for me to work with you and the leaders and staff of our city departments to learn from and contribute to all the work being done to make our city better. I am especially enthusiastic about this appointment because of both the challenges and the opportunities that lie before us. In many ways, our city heads into this next decade in good shape. Steady growth, revitalized neighborhoods, and a model for partnership that folks call the Columbus Way. In the face of our national political crisis, we also have shown that we will be a beacon of hope and stability for all our residents, and that we will uphold and defend our democracy and our American values of fairness and decency. And yet, we are confronting a stubbornly high rate of poverty across our neighborhoods. Growth and development is not equitable, and we lose the lives of far too many of our families, friends, and neighbors to drug overdoses, suicide, and violence. It is these issues of public health and public safety, of equity and equality, and of collaboration and advocacy that bring me here tonight. While I am new to standing for public office and new to the politics of City Hall, my life over the past 30 years has been dedicated to service. I joined the Peace Corps right out of college and served for 5 years as a teacher and a health educator. Peace Corps taught me to go where the need is greatest and to do what I can to facilitate empowerment by focusing on strengths and capacities of communities that are struggling due to poverty, discrimination, and disenfranchisement. I turned my experience into a career in public health, first in North Carolina and then again overseas, working with refugees and the displaced in Asia and Africa. I moved to Columbus in 2007 to get married and stayed at home to raise our daughters. I was very lucky to join a family with deep roots on the South Side and a strong history of entrepreneurship, philanthropy, and public service. I was very proud to join Tom as an advocate for LGBTQ equality in our state, and then to run for Congress in 2018 to stand up for decent, affordable health care and to protect Social Security. As I mentioned, I am eager to work with you to build on the successes in addressing the greatest needs of our city. At the end of the next decade, I hope we can say that we didn't just come together to drive equitable growth, provide affordable housing, and improve transportation, but that we also came together with those most affected to deal with poverty and violence and racism. I am eager to get to work, and I thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. The next applicant to come before council is Mr. Sam Shin. Mr. Shin, welcome back to council.
President Hardin, members of council, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak this evening. I am honored and humbled to be selected as one of your finalists. I would like to use this time to tell you a little bit more about myself and help you better understand my passion for public service. My parents and I moved to America when I was 11 months old. My mother worked as a nurse for the government. She was a lifelong union member. My father was a minister preaching at a local Methodist church. We grew up in a small apartment where my two brothers and I shared one bedroom. Life was not easy for my family. We were robbed several times. One time, a group of teenagers surrounded me and stole the bicycle that I loved. I still can vividly recall my memory of walking home in tears, afraid to tell my parents what happened. My childhood was during a time when hatred towards Asian Americans was tolerated by many. I will never understand to this day how some adults find it acceptable to yell racist slurs at young kids. My family struggled at times, but my parents never gave up. They raised us well. Today, I am an elected official serving on my second term on a local school board. 2/3 of the students in my district are residents of Columbus. My experience has shown me that it takes more than excellent teachers for students to be successful. What they experience outside the classroom is as important as what happens at school. Let me give you an example. A teacher at one of the elementary schools in the Near East Side of Columbus told me a very moving story. This teacher saw a young student peeling cheese off its pizza at lunch. The student proceeded to eat the bread, but not the cheese. He then put the cheese in his pocket. The teacher went up to the student and asked him what he was doing. The young student replied, "We do not have any food at home, so I am saving the cheese to have for dinner tonight." Is it realistic to expect students to do well at school when their basic needs are not met? So I serve on the board of a nonprofit that provides meals to students on weekends. This gives me another path to help the children of our community. I believe that public service allows me to pay it forward to the next generation, just like others did towards my family, especially during our early years in America. The best elected leaders are authentic, empathetic, and collaborative. Our Columbus City Council demonstrates these qualities wonderfully. I feel I have proven to have these same traits. I am confident that I will not only complement, but also enhance the strengths of City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shim. The final applicant to come before council this evening is Ms. Erin Sink. Ms. Sink, welcome back to council.
Good evening, President Hardin, President Pro Tem Stinziano, and members of council. My name is Erin Sink, and I would be honored to serve with you in that capacity. I have spent my career in public policy at the State House and the last several years working to make a difference in my community on the South Side. I've served with the South Side Area Commission and through many neighborhood initiatives like the South Side Human Trafficking Task Force, where I see every day the impact that the policy decisions we make have on people's lives and why it's so vital we ensure that people are at the heart of the decisions that we make. While working with the task force, one summer evening, I met a woman, and over a late-night meal in a church hall, she shared her story with me, one that includes struggling to find a good-paying job and keep it, struggling to keep a roof over her head, bouts with mental illness, and addiction. She could be far too many of our neighbors. Her voice, and those like her, are very important to these conversations that we're having about how to improve our city and lift up all our residents. Her voice deserves a spot at our table, and I carry her voice with me every day. It drives me to work to remove barriers and provide hope to our neighbors who are struggling. I believe fundamentally in the power of what we can accomplish together in communities. On the South Side, this has included things like improving a bus route on Parsons Avenue to connect parents to services for their children at the Reeb Center, or preserving crosswalks that connect the students at South High School to services at the library. These things make a difference in people's lives. And this is why I want to join you on council, to further the impact of this work and to amplify the work of so many others going on in communities all across this city. As our city grows, we do face new challenges, but we also have a unique opportunity to find creative and community-driven solutions to address some of our most pressing priorities, like affordable housing, like transportation mobility, and like safety, and to do so in a way that increases equity across our city and lifts up and opens opportunities for all of our residents. That is my commitment to this deep sense of community engagement that should drive us. I believe fundamentally that the people of Columbus are our strongest asset. There is such beauty and diversity and strength in our diversity. We, by engaging many voices, can leverage the wisdom of this collective experience and tap into the very best solutions to move Columbus forward to a brighter future for all. I thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to being a strong partner with you in the future to move forward this shared vision of a Columbus that allows every person to achieve their greatest potential and a bright future, regardless of wherever they live. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the service you do to our community.
Thank you, Ms. Sink. Well, now, you've seen what we've seen. You've heard what we have heard in our executive session. Would you please help me thank the 15 people that stepped up to serve our city? The caliber and the talent in this room this evening is certainly on display. We're going to move forward into our public speaking portion. We have 37 speakers. The limit, you have 3 minutes to speak. That's Ms. Pam Unger. But we will jump right in. The first speaker to come before council is Ms. Mary Jo Hudson. Ms. Mary Jo, welcome back to council. Former council member Mary Jo Hudson. She's no stranger to this dais or this process. Just a reminder, if you could state your name, your address, any organization that you represent, and we have 3 minutes.
Thank you, President Harden, members of council. Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm Mary Jo Hudson. I live at 955 Delaware Avenue in Columbus, Ohio, resident of Victorian Village. I am here tonight to speak in endorsement of Rick Neal to join Columbus City Council as an appointee for one of the vacated seats. As I look at this process, I'm heartened by the number of our fellow citizens, as you mentioned, President Harden, who've raised their hands to indicate that they are willing to serve our community. I applaud each and every one of these folks for raising their hands and appreciate the council's careful consideration of all of the applications. I speak tonight for Rick Neal, who I know as a community leader and also as a personal friend. Rick is a servant leader who would be a brilliant addition to Columbus City Council. Rick would be a council member for fellow residents who live in all corners of the city. His first instinct is always to move towards the greatest need, roll up his sleeves, and get to work. Rick has never been about titles. He's always been about getting the job done. Rick has lived a life as a global servant leader and runs towards every fire with all of his might. He has a great ability to marshal resources, address immediate needs, then work to help create the best circumstances for the community and empowerment and improvement. As an international educator, aid worker, and nonprofit leader, Rick has served as a teacher, health educator, developer, and extra hand. He's helped refugees individually and also by building hospitals and entire camps to work to help hundreds. In 2014, as many aid workers understandably shied away from service in the Ebola-stricken regions, many of us were very concerned for Rick as he raised his hand, returned to his international aid role, and helped set up a medical hospital for victims of the Ebola epidemic in Liberia. In these various roles, Rick has managed hammers and also funds. He's lived accountability and responsibility in ways many of us cannot even fathom. Rick has done all of this work living with less so others could live with more. What sets Rick apart from others is what I call his community vision, a gift that many claim but few really possess. Rick has demonstrated his community vision through international relief efforts abroad, as I've mentioned, and also through his individual work here in Columbus, in the greater community, as a terrific father, and as a proud gay man working for marriage equality and other issues in the LGBT community. As Rick's track record demonstrates, he's worked for solutions to meet the needs of individuals and also worked to help entire communities. Rick's community vision will help him serve on council if selected with fair-minded, pragmatic, and community-focused approach to the issues and concerns that all of you face daily. Rick is the type of community leader that many of us want to be, and few would even know how to start being. It's just second nature to him. I close tonight by asking that Columbus City Council select Rick Neal to serve as one of our next council members. I appreciate your time and your consideration. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Ms. Hudson. The next person to come before council, Mr. John Easterly. Yes, ma'am. John Easterly.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak, President Harden, President Pro Tem Stinziano, and the rest of City Council. My name is John Easterly. I live at 2608 Lily Park Drive. That's here in Columbus. I had the opportunity to meet Rick as a part of the 2018 election cycle. At the time, I was representing the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers as their legislative representative here in the city of Columbus. But tonight I'm here to speak as a friend of Rick, as a lifetime resident of Ohio, and as a 20-year resident of this city. I think there are many things that Rick has said, there are many things that people have said about Rick that would speak to his resume, speak to his experience, and speak to his qualifications here on City Council. So in lieu of that tonight, I'd like to speak a little bit about Rick, the person. Had the opportunity to meet Rick, to get to know him, to get to know his family, Tom, the girls, his mother, his in-laws. I've got to know the folks that he surrounded himself with throughout the course of the election cycle. And if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's that you can almost tell more about a person by the folks that choose to surround themselves with that person. And they're all just the most wonderful of people. Rick welcomed me into his home, welcomed me into his family, and I'd just love to see that kind of welcoming person on the City Council. I know we have a lot of speakers tonight, so I won't take up much more time, but I just think that Rick would be an excellent fit for the city and an excellent fit for this City Council. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Esther Lee. I'm going to start going through three at a time so you know who's coming up next. We have Steve Dunbar, followed by Jonathan Mccombs, followed by Thomas Less. Mr. Steve Dunbar.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Dunbar. I work in the City Attorney's Office. I work with Shayla Favor, and I'm here speaking on her behalf. This ain't just me being cute. Shayla is exceptional in every way. I know her well, have worked with her for some time. I'm just here to talk about one of those ways. One of our group's primary task is abating nuisance properties, specifically vacant, abandoned, long-term blighted properties. We had in 2013 a little over 6,000 of those in our city. As we stand here now, we're south of 4,000. So that is, a reduction of 2,000 properties, long-term vacant, blighted properties, either demolished because they're that bad or rehabbed and put back into circulation. This group has been a tremendous part of that. You've funded most of our initiatives, and you've enacted legislation that helped us be more effective. That 2,000 number, it's easy to throw a number that sounds great. When you stop and think, that's 2,000 houses on streets with people who had to look at those things every single day, who in their gut felt sick when they saw those things every single day. Not everything we're able to do in public service is that tangible, is that real for people, and it's exceptional we were able to do it in that fashion and that you were able to support us in doing that. Literally, that would not have happened if Shayla Favor had not been working in our office. This is not me being cute. This is not me being dramatic. This is just the way it is, and I'll tell you why. Shayla, several years ago, I tasked her with kind of doing all of this on a larger scale. She created what we call the Vacant Abandoned Properties Group, the VAP group. That is a group of about a half dozen city departments and a few other county agencies that started by looking at every single one of these, looking at the end game and kind of reverse engineering the whole thing. She took that whole model of everyone determining the solution all the way back to training every stinking code enforcement officer, giving them checklists, so the first time they laid eyes on one of those, they would start building exactly what needed to be done, so we would know exactly which way to send it and get it done most quickly. Because of that, we came out of the housing crisis better than most anyone. We were more effective, more efficient. We did it on a larger scale, and we sustained it over a larger period of the time, to the point that we don't talk that much about it. There's still work to be done, but when we talk about, geez, we got tons of vacant houses, what do? We're tremendous in how we've gotten past that. Shayla changed not just institutionally, procedurally how we do it, but literally culturally how we do it, by getting everyone at several different city departments getting a solution and then having on day one someone else starting that solution. That's an exceptional thing. Shayla is an exceptional person. She will be a tremendous asset to you all on the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dunbar. The next speaker to come before council is Mr. Jonathan Mccombs, followed by Thomas Less, followed by Asleen Rodriguez. Just a reminder to state your name, your address, and any organization you may represent.
Hello, good evening, Council President Hardin, members of Columbus City Council. My name is Dr. Jonathan Mccombs. I'm the Dean of the College of Health and Public Administration at Franklin and Urbana Universities. I live at 125 Money Break Drive, Pickerington, Ohio, but I obviously work in the city. Dr. Chanel Jones works in the College of Health and Public Administration, where she serves as the chair of the public safety programs, which includes the Criminal Justice Administration Program, Public Safety Management and Leadership, and Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Dr. Jones has only been at Franklin University for a little over a year, but she is already making her mark. In addition to serving on the Assessment, Diversity Dimensions, and Student Success Committees, she has also been instrumental in establishing partnerships with organizations and businesses to reduce economic barriers to our educational programs, especially those in criminal justice, administration, and public safety. She serves on the steering committee for the Center for Public Safety and Cybersecurity Education, where she has helped coordinate several programs, including a workshop for law enforcement on youth and the police. She's collaborated with me and our colleague, Dr. Alex Heckman, to conduct a study on the feasibility of providing online in-service training to police officers in several departments across the Central Ohio area. She has also worked to update our criminal justice curriculum to include pathways that address special populations. As a former law enforcement officer myself, I can attest to her experience and commitment for improving public safety and police-community relations. She currently serves as the National Director of Research for the Teen and Police Services Academy. She has collaborated with the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services to facilitate the Change Starts Here Ohio campaign, which is an initiative to improve police-community relations. She was selected by Mayor Ginther to serve on the Columbus Community Safety Advisory Commission. Additionally, she has written numerous articles and book chapters on the administration of justice, police-community relations, and public perceptions of the police. At Franklin University, we emphasize the importance of having faculty that are really scholar practitioners, as demonstrated by many of our professional doctorate programs and other graduate programs. I myself was appointed to the Adam H. Board in Fairfield County and currently serve there, have been for 4 years now. Dr. Jones is a true scholar practitioner. She addresses critical issues from an evidence-based and analytical perspective. And she would use that same approach to address the city's most pressing issues, including housing, jobs, transportation, sustainability, and health disparities. Columbus has branded itself as an opportunity city, and as evidenced by her work, Dr. Jones has a legacy of working to ensure residents have access to opportunities. While she is without question a dynamic educator and prolific scholar, she is also a dedicated public servant, a collaborator, a hard worker, a strategic thinker, a problem solver, and a good communicator. It's for all these reasons that you should select Dr. Chanel Jones.
Thank you, Dr. McCombs. The next speaker to come before council is Mr. Thomas Less, followed by Asleen Rodriguez, followed by Maria Ramos.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Less. I live at 23 East Gate Street in Marion Village. I'm the Marion Village representative to the Southside Area Commission. I also work for Woolpert, although I do not represent them in this setting. Thank you for taking the time to hear the public input and provide this forum. I'm here to talk to you regarding Erin Sink, who serves with me on the Area Commission. She's done a lot of great things for our area and works tirelessly in that role. When multiple residents noticed issues with postal delivery, Erin coordinated the effort, bringing this to attention to the Postmaster General, who's new to the role at the time. She was able to get a direct line to the postmaster and then publicize that throughout the Southside area, civics, and other areas of the city, which made a noticeable difference in the mail delivery. During the CODA transit system redesign, a number of routes were impacted, including a continuous route down Parsons Avenue. This connected residents from the south end of Parsons up to Nationwide Children's. It also connected a housing set aside for low-income new mothers who needed those services. When the redesign happened, that split that route into multiple stops so that you had to do transfers up the route. So she worked with other residents of our community to get that changed through a number of meetings with CODA and provide continuous service for those residents. In her role as Public Services Chair on the Air Commission, she regularly coordinates with Jennifer Gallagher from Department of Public Service, also with the other departments, Department of Zoning, so she is very familiar with other city departments and services. She's worked with the City of Columbus Police and Human Trafficking Task Force, as she described so eloquently earlier tonight, and to provide an alternative and intervention for those women to break the cycle of abuse and addiction. She's passionate about helping the community and the city as a whole, and some of the areas in which she's put a lot of thought. I have regular discussions with her, usually after our civic or commission meetings. These include the affordability gap, housing incentives, and incentives for development investment, which promote mixed-use, mixed-income communities that will make our city stronger, expansion of multimodal transportation, and a number of other initiatives that would all be key to continued growth of the city and making sure that the rising tide of the City of Columbus lifts all of our boats. Her passion improving for the city and connecting communities, paired with her ability to work effectively within bureaucratic processes to effect real change, make Erin an excellent candidate for the City Council vacancy. As all of you know, sweeping change is difficult. Usually it comes with incremental and the hard work of consensus building, and I believe Erin would be excellent in those roles on the council. Thank you again, and I'll concede my additional time for the other speakers.
Thank you, Mr. Les. The next speaker to come before council is Asleen Rodriguez, followed by Maria Ramos, followed by Amanda Butler.
Good evening, President Hardy, Pro Tem Cinziano, and council members. My name is Asleen Rodriguez. I live at 161 East Longview, Columbus, Ohio. I'm coming before you today in support of Lourdes Barroso de Padilla. And I come in favor of in support of Lourdes because I want to talk about her ability to build bridges. Lourdes comes from a place where she knows what it's like to be the first in her family. She comes from a place where she knows what it's like to see a community thrive and go under and bring it back up. She comes from a place of being able to sit across tables with folks who have power and folks who don't know that they have power. And what I appreciate about Lourdes and what I believe that she will bring to this council is her ability to talk amongst our communities. We have a tale of two cities, but with Lourdes's support and her ability to communicate with those in our community, I know she will be able to have conversations that help us really push forward in our community. Because she lives in our community, because she came back to our community, because she is opting to raise her two beautiful girls in this community. This is a place where you want a mother, where you want somebody who has lived here, who understands and sees a community. This is a place where I know that my friend, that a woman I admire, that I follow, will bring us to a better place and is a team member. And I think that that's what you're looking for here on City Council. My point here is that she's a bridge builder, and I think that she'll be an amazing member of your council. I appreciate your time tonight, and I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. The next person coming for council is Ms. Maria Ramos, followed by Amanda Butler, then followed by Sarai Exile.
Hello. Thank you for having us today here. My name is Maria Ramos, and I live at 1326 Starbright Crossing Drive, Columbus, Ohio. And I work with an organization, the YMCA of Central Ohio New American Welcome Center and Avanza together. I'm here today to speak on behalf of Lourdes Barroso de Padilla and why she's an ideal candidate. I believe that every person in Columbus should have leaders in which they can see parts of themselves in them. Just like myself, she's a Columbus City School graduate and a product of what the City of Columbus can offer. She's a first-generation American like myself, and this helps for her to understand and advocate and lift the voices of our immigrant communities. It's part of my job to do this, and she is a great resource for me to have when I need a little bit more support. She's a Latina who has always worked in the nonprofit and grassroots world, and she gets it. She gets why communities need to have a strong leader. And one of the things I love about Lourdes is it's not that she's just a believer in community transformation, but she's an action taker. She's the director of Latina Mentoring Academy, which I was a part of. And this was a big catalyst in my career. It opened up networks for me, and I gained hermanas, a sisterhood of other Latinas that are young professionals just getting started. Another thing of her, she's a connector. She understands exactly what you need and who to get you to get your job done. She's one of the greatest mentors I've had, a servant leader, and I believe that it's time for City Council to have its first Latina. Thank you for your consideration, and I trust that you will choose what is best for our city, our great Columbus.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. The next speaker coming for council is Amanda Butler, followed by Saray Excel, followed by Pastor Julius Lancaster.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Butler. My address is 512 East Jenkins Avenue in Columbus. That's the south side, Vassar Village. I'm here tonight in support of Shayla Favor filling the city council vacancy. Shayla has been one of my closest friends for over 15 years. She is the person that I can call anytime, day or night, when I need help. That is not something you can say about many people in this world, but she is that person for me and countless others in her network of friends and family. There is something about Shayla's spirit that even if she can't make your situation better, she will make you feel better about your situation. I think that's what so many in our community need right now, someone that has compassion and will listen to you and give you comfort when times are hard. I have been a homeowner on the south side of Columbus for 10 years. Over the years, my husband and I have dealt with some terrible situations in our neighborhood, and Shayla has offered her support every time. Since we've owned our home, we've had drug dealers move in and out of our neighborhood. Our cars have been broken into numerous times. One of our cars were stolen, and most recently, someone tried to break into our house while our children were sleeping. Unfortunately, these crimes are happening all the time as violence and drugs devastate our community. Every time I've dealt with adversity or fear, I've reached out to Shayla for her empathetic ear and guidance. Shayla assured me that her partners in the city attorney's office were working to improve my neighborhood. She encouraged me to contact law enforcement, get involved in my neighborhood association, and even personally offered her place to stay until we felt safe in our home. Shayla and I have watched this city grow together. The stomping grounds of our college days are no longer standing, mom and pop businesses replaced by chains and franchises. The apartments we had on campus in the north side have now been revamped and are charging 2 and 3 times the rent that we paid. Shayla and I are both residents of the surrounding downtown neighborhoods that were once seen as scary and now are the it neighborhoods. I say all that not to criticize the growth and increasing prosperity in the city, but to recognize that not everyone has kept pace with that prosperity. Shayla is extremely aware of the challenges that the average person in the city faces. She works full-time to improve the city by removing blighted buildings and illegal establishments. Shayla is in touch with the many issues we face as a growing, developing city, including affordable housing, the employment market, and the opioid crisis. I cannot begin to tell you how Shayla does it all. She balances family, work, volunteering, and activism. Shayla is a wife. She's also a caregiver to her father. She understands the difficulties of navigating the healthcare system and how necessary affordable medicine and elder care is to so many. She's an advocate for wellness and physical and mental health, which are desperately needed in the African American community. Shayla is a champion for entrepreneurs and artists in Columbus, and she still wants to take on more. She's the most equipped and prepared person to fill the vacancy, and you would be lucky to have her like I've been lucky to have her 15 years of friendship. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next person to come before council is Saray Excel, followed by Pastor Julius Lancaster, followed by Ms. Terry Elliott.
Good evening, council members and community. What a beautiful day. I'm so excited to see so many people here advocating for their communities. It's just such an inspiring thing to see. My name is Sarai Veronique Exil. I live at 53 King Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, and I'm here to represent Lourdes Barroso de Padilla. I met Lourdes when I first came to Columbus as a City Year Columbus AmeriCorps member. At the time, she was the executive director of City Year Columbus, and I was floored by her enthusiasm, her love for us, and most importantly, her belief in us. 36 17 to 24-year-olds who had volunteered a year of our lives to make a difference in our nation's dropout crisis. She has dedicated most of her life to this cause, and to this day is still working to help bridge the achievement gap for some of the most vulnerable in our community, children living in poverty. Lourdes is quite phenomenal because she has the uncanny ability to lift the voice of the people around her, to help someone share their truth. And then she makes space for them at the table. She pulls up a chair and makes their voice louder. She's done that many times for me, even when I doubted that my perspective mattered, when I doubted that I fit in. She always made sure that I knew that I had a right to be heard, that there were others who needed me to speak up. And when I did speak up, she helped me build those words into actions. I believe in Lourdes. I believe that she can lift the voices of the unheard regardless of race, sexual orientation, zip code, gender, socioeconomic class, first or second or third generation American, and every other beautiful way that has built this bustling and growing city, and help our citizens make true change in their communities. I believe that if she's on this council, she's going to make space at the table for so many new voices. And I believe for the future of this city, she's what we need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker to come before council is Pastor Julius Lancaster, followed by Commissioner Terry Elliott, followed by Betty Jane. Pastor, welcome to council.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. President Hardin, rest of council, this is a wonderful opportunity. And I'd just like to say real quick, if the young lady who just went, if I ever need someone to speak on my behalf, I need to get your contact information. After hearing all of the candidates speak, it certainly appears that all of them would have value to City Council and the City of Columbus in general. However, because of my relationship with Nicholas Bankston, I am just a little bit biased. I've observed Nicholas to have dedicated his entire employment career to public service, which I believe signifies his desire to serve. I've watched him help with the creation of the Linden Plan, which signifies his ability to understand the city of Columbus and provide scalable solutions that make Columbus better. I've witnessed Nicholas participate and lead in the resurgence of the Columbus Urban League of Young Professionals, a group of which recently his peers voted and selected him to serve as president. But most importantly, what I believe that I've witnessed him do is to be a devoted husband and a devoted friend. And I'd just like to say, if honesty, integrity, and passion for the city of Columbus have anything to do with the selection process, then I say Nicholas is a viable candidate, and your consideration in selecting him is very much appreciated.
Thank you, Pastor. Next person to come before council is Commissioner Terry Elliott, followed by Betty Jane, followed by Habby or Raven Wheeler.
President Harding, council members, thank you for allowing me the time this evening to speak before you, and thank you for all you do to make this a great place to live. I am a leader, community leader on the southeast side of Columbus. I chair the Livingston Avenue Area Commission. I am vice president and co-founder of the Livingston Avenue Business Association, but tonight I come representing myself as a Columbus resident. I come to speak on behalf of Assistant Attorney Shayla Favors being appointed to one of the vacant seats for City Council. She will be an asset to council, as she has been an asset to my community. Through her commitment to our residents and to our neighborhood in our quest to live our best possible life. She has done, through her partnership with many of you and many of her co-workers, many things to help the southeast side of Columbus. In the past 5 years, with her commitment to our community, she has helped shut down drug houses, bringing undesirable elements to our community. She's held landlords responsible for occupied nuisance homes, bringing them to code. She has held absentee landlords responsible for vacant and abandoned properties. She has held businesses accountable for nuisance behaviors, bringing elements to the community that would bring most any community down. Recently, with the help of her co-workers and the help of council, she has brought a quest of mine, a 5-year quest of mine to fruition, and that is to have 2 businesses liquor license denied. These 2 businesses have been a nuisance in my community for 20 years. It has destroyed lives of many people in my community. It has brought prostitution. They have brought prostitution to my community, drug sales to my community, and in 5 years, I have not been able to do what she's done in 1 year. She supports the commission. She supports the civic associations by being in attendance. As well, she is a God-fearing woman. We go to church together. So I know she would be a great asset to City Council. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next person coming for council is Betty James, followed by, and it looks like Happy Diallo and Raven Wheeler. Are they? Okay. Well, then next up is Ms. Diallo and Raven Wheeler. I think that we filled out one speaker slip to come up together. All right. Well, welcome to council, guys. And then followed by Norwood Bus, Mr. Thomas, and followed by Stephen Stine.
Good evening. My name is Ravon Wheeler. I live at 2424 Liston Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, on the south side.
Good evening. My name is Happy Diallo. I live at 684 East Morrow Avenue, Columbus, Ohio.
Good evening, President Hardin and distinguished members of the Columbus City Council. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak before you today regarding your decision as to who will represent us as the next City Council member. My name is Ravon Wheeler. I am a senior at Eastmore Academy with a GPA of a 3.67. Currently, I have a 31 on my ACT, and I have been accepted to approximately 15 colleges and universities.
My name is Javi Diallo. I am a 2017 graduate of South High School, second-year student at Kent State University, and I'm a double major in international relations and political science. And my current GPA is 3.2.
We are here to speak in support of Dr. Chanel Jones becoming our next City Council member. Dr. Jones became known to us and many other students during our participation in a mentoring program that was designed to address the current challenges faced by students as they prepare to transition from high school to college life or the workplace, focus on providing students with life, academic, career, and character building skills, and to empower students to realize their full potential by connecting with positive coaches to provide guidance, instill self-confidence, and provide career direction. Dr. Jones especially inspired me throughout my college process. Listening to her stories and learning so much from her has really opened my eyes and encouraged me not to slip into mediocrity. I've had a scholarship to The Ohio State University for 6 years and was content with letting myself have that as my only option. Constantly stressing the importance of pushing past the limits people set on me, she wouldn't let me settle for less than I was worth. As I mentioned before, I have now been accepted to 15 colleges and counting, and that is due in big part to Dr. Jones.
As my mentor, Dr. Jones has inspired me to reach my full potential by giving back to the community the same way she is doing now. Dr. Jones was an essential presence in my life and the life of my peers. She spent many hours with us filling out college applications and accompanying us with the help of filling out different financial documents and provided food to every single student. Because of her, I was able to become the first in my family to attend a four-year institution. Since being in college, I have a few accomplishments. Last summer, I was the only freshman accepted to a summer study abroad program in Senegal. And this year, as a sophomore, I am a peer mentor to 5 incoming freshmen of color. In addition, in November, I attended a National Black Pre-Law Conference at Harvard University. All of these experiences aid to my learning, and I've gained these opportunities with the help of Dr. Jones' guidance. However, I'm not here speaking for myself. In the 3 years that I've known Dr. Jones, she has helped me and over 100 of young people just like me. I am sure to speak their blessings with me as I speak. And when I say we need Dr. Jones representing us at city level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I have a question for Mr. Wheeler. Did you apply to Morehouse College?
No, sir, not yet.
Thank you so much. But you are Eastmoor student, and we have another Eastmoor grad here too. Thank you guys for coming down. Next person coming before council is Mr. Norwood Buzz Thomas, followed by Mr. Stephen Stine, followed by Brian Scarpino.
President Hardin, President Pro Tem Stentiano, my name is Norwood Buzz Thomas. I live at 373 Thurman Avenue on Columbus's historic South Side. I want to thank you for the opportunity to address this body. Jean-Baptiste Alphonse Carr, a French critic, journalist, and novelist, is credited in 1849 with popularizing the phrase, "The more things change, the more they stay the same." Obviously not a new concept. In my 71 years of observation, I can't count the number of times that I've heard those running for office tag themselves as agents of change. The implication is that somehow they alone are the ones to address the problems of their constituencies, and the solutions that they propose will be better than those of their predecessors. I would hope that in your decision-making process, you will not be encumbered by nor chained to the old saw of "we've never done it that way before," a phrase that is the antithesis of change, one that frequently mires us personally and professionally in the morass of stagnancy. The process of selecting someone to fill the vacant seat on City Council provides those of you making this decision the opportunity to truly change the way appointees are selected. Rather than cling to the old notions that you have to wait your turn, pay your dues, or that you have to fill a specific gender or racial specific category to maintain balance on council, you could simply select the best person for the job. And in my heart of hearts, I believe that person is Aaron Sink. One of the definitions of leadership is that it's a process of social influence which maximizes the efforts of others toward the achievement of a goal. We as citizens have elected you to lead us in the future by making decisions that are at times difficult. What I want in my leaders are people who are competent, people who have a superior work ethic, people who are willing to work with others in an inclusive manner, who value collegiality and civility. I want someone who is passionate about the city that I love and believes in its future. I want someone who is compassionate about the less fortunate in our community and will work to improve their lot in life. I want someone whose personal philosophy is guided by the principles of justice, fairness, and equality for all. I want someone who has the courage to do the right thing, even if it means abandoning the way it's been done before. I am here this evening to advocate for Aaron Sink because I believe she is that person. Members of council, I encourage you to step out of the box about how it's always been done and be actual agents of change. I hope that you will be courageous leaders in making your decision to do that which is first and foremost best for the city of Columbus. I fervently hope that you will select Aaron Sink to fill one of the impending vacancies. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. Good evening.
Thank you, sir. The next person to come before council is Mr. Stephen Stine, Mr. Brian Scarpino, and then Deborah Crawford. Congratulations on your new post, sir.
Thank you, Council President. Council President Hardin, President Pro Tem Stinziano, esteemed members of council. My name is Stephen Stine. I live at 767 City Park Avenue down in German Village, and I'm the newly elected Vice President of Columbus Firefighters Local 67. It is an honor and a privilege to be here tonight, and I can't think of a more fitting matter upon which to voice our collective support than a good man and a mentor to me, and that's Marco Miller. Next week, we're fortunate enough to host the campaign kickoff for our esteemed mayor, Andrew Ginther. When many of you walk into our beautifully restored Union Hall on West Broad Street, please understand that the only reason we have such a welcoming space in a burgeoning area of our city is because of the planning and foresight of our former union president, Marco Miller. As we collectively look forward to taking on challenges and issues of immense importance in our near future, it can be helpful to look to our predecessors for guidance and context around challenges both past and present. One such issue that is of paramount importance is that of inclusion in the city and inclusion in our safety services. It should not be lost on anyone that at no other point in time in the 197-year history of the Columbus Division of Fire was the hiring of diverse candidates greater than during the tenure of then Union President Marco Miller. Marco is the embodiment of service to others. He has worked, served, and led our city's bravest in our most vulnerable communities all over town. While there are other candidates here tonight worthy of due consideration, there are none with the selfless history of service and sacrifice as that of Marco Miller. I stand before you today as one of the youngest members ever to hold office at Local 67. And while my views on the importance of youthful leadership, innovation, and inclusion are congruent with many of my contemporaries in this room, it would be woefully short-sighted to dismiss the litany of work that has been done before us, the fights fought, the challenges accepted, and the path paved for us today. And that is why, on behalf of the over 1,500 active firefighters of Local 67, we proudly voice our support behind our brother, Marco Miller. The Columbus Firefighters Union has an unparalleled history of supporting our civic leaders and will continue to do so. And it is with that history of service to others that we ask you tonight to throw your support behind Marco Miller. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Vice President Stine. Mr. Scarpino is not here this evening. We also want to recognize that Ms. Marco Miller is here, and he is suffering from bronchitis this evening, so he did not speak, but did want to recognize that he is here as well. And as for the other applicant who did not speak, Ms. Ramona Reyes. Ms. Reyes is out of the city right now, working in support of those affected by the migrant caravans in California. So, the next person to come before council is Deborah Crawford, followed by Kyle Strickland, followed by Catherine Chips.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this first-time hearing, and especially thank you to all these amazing candidates. I'm just completely wowed by it. I was told not to attend this hearing tonight because it doesn't really matter, that you've already made up your mind, the decision has already been made, but I decided to attend anyway. I was also told not to pay much attention to the Mayor's Safety Commission to study Columbus Police and try to make improvements. But I've been attending almost every meeting, and I've been paying very close attention. Many concerned citizens like me fight cynicism all the time about real change in Columbus, Ohio, for everyone who lives here. Whoever you choose can have a dramatic impact on how you will lead the city for positive change. Choosing a person who will rubber stamp existing group ideas will not move us in progress. I'm asking you to be courageous and bold, similar to what another speaker said just a minute ago about how you make change. We cannot have the status quo. We have to have different thinking, and to have different thinking, you have to have different people. Research shows that groupthink is not productive, it does not produce good results, and it often does not lead to the change that you want. I would like to recommend to you Katherine Griffiths and also Chanel Jones as two qualified female candidates for this seat, women who have had years of experience with knowledge, experience, and working on successful change efforts. I wish you knew of all the solid, wonderful people who've actually given up the hope for real change in Columbus, Ohio, change for everyone. I also wish you knew of all the people like me who still believe in this, and that's why I'm here tonight. And so we're counting on you to have the courage and the strength to lead us and choose the right people for these jobs, regardless of policy, regardless of politics, and all that other stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Crawford. The next person coming before council is Kyle Strickland, followed by Katherine Griffiths, followed by Pastor Michael Young.
Good evening, Council President Hardin, Council President Pro Tem Stinziano, distinguished members of council, of course, the residents of the city of Columbus. I'm here on behalf of Rob Dorns. Rob Dorns and I have served together on the executive board of ACS Columbus, the American Constitution Society, for the past 2 years. Its mission is to make sure that we can use the law as a force for good to improve people's lives. That's what this is all about. When I think through all the incredible finalists that are here today, I'm grateful for their willingness to step up and to serve, but I really want to think about how we can utilize the law. And that's why Rob Dorns stands out as the person that council would be incredible to have on council. Rob Dorns is committed beyond just the legal community, but is also about working on behalf of working people every single day. He tells me his stories of being a big brother for the past 7 years to his little brother with big brothers and big sisters, and what that means. Being able to talk to him about the stories of moving from community to community, from school to another school, and facing all the challenges in his community. He understands what these issues face every single day, and he's committed. He's not just an attorney that works on behalf of working people, but he also serves every single month for the past 6 to 7 years, going to the community legal shelter with Van Buren to talk with people about offering pro bono legal services. This is incredibly important. My work on behalf of My Brother's Keeper, we know that these challenges cannot be solved by one person or even one body on city council, but together we need to have the legal minds and the necessary work of every single resident to be able to tackle these issues that we face. Again, we've got a difficult choice ahead to select as our next city council candidate, and it will be difficult. But we know that if we work together to talk about these issues that matter, it's about commitment, who is able to step up every single day and every single month and wake up and fight on behalf of working people. I believe that Rob Dorns is that person. I've known him for the past few years, and I wanted to get a sense of, is this guy really what it's all about, progressive? Does he care about these issues? And when he told me about his service, not only as a big brother, but also every single month providing pro bono legal services, it made me realize that as an attorney, I need to step up my game when it comes to volunteering every single month and every single day. That's what this is all about. We've got extraordinary challenges, from affordable housing to dealing with issues around eviction, and we know that folks like Rob are going to be able to bring us together to talk about these complex legal issues, but use the law as a force for good. We've got to be able to move the needle on some of these issues, and we know that we can't do this overnight, but with hard work and dedication, we can get there. And I'm so proud to support Rob Dorns as the next city council member, and I hope you take the time to consider him for city council. Thank you so much. Good evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Strickland. Next person coming before council is Ms. Katherine Griffiths, followed by Pastor Michael Young, followed by Gelly and Dayrit.
Thank you. President Hardin, President Pro Tem Stinziano, and the members of Columbus City Council. My name is Katherine Griffiths, and I am here to show my support for one of the City Council member finalists, Marco Miller. I co-own 2 small businesses with Marco, and I've known him for several years. The best way to describe Marco is he's the humble leader that always gets the job done. He is truly the definition of the blue-collar union worker. From his time serving on the Columbus Division of Fire, he helped lead the negotiations to enact the first protections for members of the LGBT community in Columbus, and this was during the late 1980s. He helped oversee efforts to diversify the fire department, and he helped start the adult degree program at Capital University so firefighters could earn a degree so they were eligible for promotions. He started a mentoring program called Firefighters Against Drugs, where firefighters mentored elementary school students. He also started the Fire Setters class, which worked with our juvenile court system as a diversion program for youth that had set fires. As a community liaison, Marco worked closely with Columbus City Council. He understands the city's budget process because he's worked on countless budgets. Much of this work led to Marco being elected president of the Columbus Firefighters Union Local 67, a post he served for 2 terms. As a citizen, he has worked with many veterans organizations in Central Ohio and will always be a strong advocate for our veterans. Marco himself spent 4 years in the U.S. Air Force, including a year of combat in Vietnam. He has volunteers countless hours to feed the homeless and raise money to pay medical expenses for fellow veterans. And if you know Marco, he's the guy who's always talking about his family. From his wife of 43 years, Barb, to their 4 children, 12 grandkids, and 1 great-grandchild. As a father, Marco got a second job to help pay tuition when all 4 kids were in college around the same time. Then he went on to enroll in college himself to earn a degree in public administration and studied right along with his own kids. To end, I support the guy who needed help coming up with his accomplishments for his application project. Not because he didn't have a long list, but because he didn't see them as accomplishments. He just saw them as doing what was right. I urge your support of Marco Miller for Columbus City Council, and I thank you for allowing me to speak this evening.
Thank you. The next speaker is Pastor Michael Young, followed by Gelly Ann Dayrid, followed by Ms. Pam Unger. Pastor, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, President Hardin, distinguished council members. It is an honor and a privilege to be here tonight. My name is Pastor Michael Young. I reside at 3215 Cannock Lane. I am the lead pastor of the City of Grace Church, located on the Near East Side, one of the fastest growing churches in the city of Columbus, and grateful to be here tonight. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Columbus. I'm a product of Columbus Public Schools. Went to Arlington Park, Avalon, and Alpine. Went to Mifflin Middle, and I'm a proud graduate of Mifflin High School. I am a puncher. I went to the University of Akron, and when I graduated with my business marketing degree, I chose to move back to the city I was born and raised in. And this is the place where I've chosen to raise my family, and this is the place where I'm raising my 3 kids. So this is very critical to me. It's very important to me that we choose the right person for these 2 vacant positions. And I'm here to endorse Dr. Chanel Jones as one of the next council positions. Dr. Jones and I have had the opportunity to collaborate on several community efforts, and things that I've noticed about Dr. Jones, not only in my opportunity to work with her, but just in observing her as a contributor to this community, are her character, her competence, the fact that she's compassionate, she's a connector, and she has a clear vision. When I talk about her character, I believe that she's a woman who has integrity, honesty, and she operates, although she is very successful, with great humility. She is the embodiment of a servant leader. When I speak to Dr. Jones' competence, I'm speaking not only to her education, but I'm speaking to her experience. She has a proven track record of being successful in serving our city. Dr. Jones is compassionate. She simply cares about other people. She cares about our community, and she loves the city of Columbus. She has demonstrated an ability to assist those that are less fortunate, vulnerable, and even voiceless. When I talk to Dr. Jones about being a connector, she is somebody who builds bridges, not walls like other elected officials in our country. She builds bridges between the community and police officers. She builds bridges between the business community and the faith-based community. She builds bridges between generations. And when I speak to Dr. Jones, not only being a connector, but I also speak to her having somebody who has a clear vision. She's somebody who's not just talking the talk. She's somebody who's going to walk the walk. And again, she has a proven track record. So it gives me great honor to recommend Dr. Jones based upon her character, her competence, the fact that she's compassionate, she's a connector, and she has a clear vision for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. For anyone who's counting, we are on speaker number 22 out of 37. The next speaker to come before council is Pam Unger, followed by Bobby Perriman, followed by Angela Mitchell. Ms. Kelly, welcome to council. Just a reminder, state your name, your address, and any organization you may represent.
All right. Hello, President Harden. I'm just going to correct you for 2 times. My name is pronounced Jillian Darrett. I know you looked at me, but
That's
it's pronounced
perfect.
Jillian Darrett. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I live in 8054 Cedar Road Boulevard. I work for the Ohio State University. Tonight, I will be representing myself as a Columbus resident, and I will also be speaking in support of Columbus City Council candidate Sam Shim. So the first time I informally met Sam was actually when I was interviewing for my role as the intercultural specialist for the Asian Pacific Islander, that's the American, PETA Student Initiatives in the Office of Student Life Multicultural Center at The Ohio State University. I remember him specifically asking me, as part of the question and answers portion, about my experiences and thoughts about working with alumni from OSU, and I immediately talked about my former experience working with the Asian Pacific Alumni Association at University of California. It was then that I knew that I would be working closely with Sam and engaging our alums and students at OSU. Today has been a year and 4 months, not that I'm counting, since I relocated from California to Columbus, Ohio. I know, big move. As a new Columbus resident, it has been a pleasure to have Sam as part of my community, both personally and professionally. Professionally, one of Sam's strengths is his ability to work with others from various backgrounds. He is not only a team member, but also a leader in many organizations he is a part of. I've been fortunate to be able to collaborate and work with him through his role as the founder and president of the Asian Pacific Islander Alumni Society. Through our relationship, we have been able to increase our engagement of alums and our OSU PETA student. Sam has continually shown dedication and motivation to give back to his alma mater by providing sponsorships, mentorship, and leadership to OSU's Asian American students. I am more than confident that Sam will be a great addition to the City Council by contributing his ability to collaborate, lead with empathy, and coalition building. I am positive that Sam will also continue to give back to our Columbus community as he has to our OSU community. Personally, Sam has been a part of my small network of Asian American community here in Columbus. And the 2017 annual report, 17% or 51,000 of Ohio's Asian population live in Columbus. As an Asian American woman, it is pivotal and important that we have Asian American representation and visibility in the Columbus City Council so that our communities and other marginalized communities' needs will be heard. How living in Columbus and relocating from California has been challenging both personally and professionally. However, knowing Sam, it has been great to know that I can reach out to him if I am in need of a simple encouragement and/or where are the best places to get Asian cuisines in Columbus. He has paved the way to help me feel at home in Columbus. With that said, Sam Shim is an ideal candidate to sit on the Columbus City Council. Sam exemplifies commitment, dedication, and inspiration to our city of Columbus. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker to come before council is Pam Unger, followed by Bobby Perriman, followed by Angela Mitchell. Ms. Unger not here? Then we'll moving right along, Mr. Bobby Perriman, followed by Angela Mitchell, followed by Jennifer Moore. Mr. Perriman, welcome to council.
Thank you, President Harden and members of City Council. You have a big choice in front of you. You have a whole host of wonderful candidates. You can't go wrong. But I'm here to speak on behalf of Al Edmondson. I've known Al for 15 years in multiple capacities. While I was serving as the executive director for Habitat for Humanity, I reached out to Al and asked how could you and Habitat partner. And he volunteered quietly below the radar to help facilitate youth training so that we could help some of the underprivileged kids in the community get an opportunity to earn a paycheck during the summer. Over the last 10 years, we've partnered with St. Stephen's Community House. We've partnered with the Urban League. And again, not in the spotlight, not for show, but behind the scenes, he has been a community partner. He stepped in, he was a coordinator, site coordinator, and he did all of those things without any aspiration of being an elected official. I am here because I can tell you, you've read his press clippings, you've seen his awards, but he is a true patriot. He is a community leader in the truest sense. His heart is in Columbus. His heart is for the people. And I lastly speak as a friend. He's the kind of guy that you can count on. No matter what the situation, he'll do the hard work. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Angela Mitchell, followed by Jennifer Moore.
Good evening. My name is Angela Mitchell, and I reside at 6479 Limkin Drive, and I'm a proud resident of Columbus. I will be sharing remarks in support of Shayla Favor. There's a lot of things that I can say about Shayla, but tonight I am going to share with you the Shayla that I know. 25 years is how long Shayla and I have been friends. So as you can imagine, we've been through a lot of changes and evolutions and all sorts of things. A quick story, I remember in high school, we both ran for student council, the vice president role. I knew I had it in the bag. I came in giving high fives to everyone. And then the loudspeaker announcement came on and Shayla was selected for the role. So I was upset, but as I saw her in action, I realized that she was made for this type of position. So throughout all the different changes, there has been one constant, and that is Shayla's deep-rooted desire to see everyone around her reach their fullest potential. She has always demanded, expected, and encouraged me to never settle for good enough. When I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, Shayla has the shovel, the boots, and she is helping to dig me out. When I cry, she comforts me and then hands me a pen and paper and says, okay, let's work on solutions. I don't think she knows this, but I am constantly in awe of her and all that she is able to achieve, her ability to remain calm in high-stakes situations. She is absolutely humble, never bragging, never boasting, and never seeking validation, just quietly doing what she has been called to do. I am absolutely certain that she will do the same for the city of Columbus, putting people first and working tirelessly to see our great city achieve its fullest potential. And I am confident that she will do so with the utmost level of professionalism, enthusiasm, diplomacy, passion, innovation, and collaboration. When faced with uncertainty and challenges, Shayla is the positive one. She makes it look easy. When she's going through hardships, she is the one that is putting other people at ease. Shayla is the type of leader our city needs, and I strongly encourage you to select Shayla as the next sitting member of Columbus City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Jennifer Moore.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Moore, and I live at 6479 Limkin Drive in Gahanna. Shayla Favor is my sister. If I'm being charged with speaking to the character of my sister, I must start at the very beginning. Shayla was born on a cold winter's night in January. Never mind. I won't start at the very beginning. But as a child, Shayla could be summed up in 3 words: leader, caring, and talkative. If you know Shayla, you know these words are still true for her today. Being a leader is not a gift that everyone possesses, but for Shayla, it just comes naturally. As a child, Shayla could be seen leading her senior class as president or leading a mini revolution at home, fighting the battle of why we should receive more for our allowance. Being brave is a characteristic that one must possess in order to properly lead. Shayla has bravely fought many obstacles in her life, and as that leader, shown others it can be done. She will often say, "I was given this mountain in order to show others it can be moved." This is exactly what our community is in need of, someone to lead by example. Shayla's caring heart pours through in all that she does for anyone that she encounters. When we lost our mother very suddenly 3 years ago, and our father fell ill just a year ago, Shayla's caring heart is what kept our family strong and together. Shayla's care can be seen in various ways, from allowing family to stay at her home for extended periods of time to having a heart-to-heart with a stranger in the grocery store, simply because she saw him or her upset. This is exactly what our community is in need of, someone who will take the time to listen and offer support and resources. When Shayla was younger, she would always have a comment from her teachers on her report cards that said, "Bright girl, but she talks a little too much." This comment never sat too well with our parents. However, she was encouraged by them to make better use of her gift for gab. She was in several clubs that allowed this gift to flourish, and years later, she is still using that same gift to empower those around her and provide a voice to the voiceless, to those right here in Columbus. And this is exactly what our community is in need of, a person who will unapologetically stand up for what she believes in and be unafraid to speak on it. To me, when I think of characteristics I would want in someone who is making decisions for the city I love, the city I live in, the city I call home, I will want that person to be these three things: a leader, a person who cares, and someone who is able to talk to the people of this city, relating to them and wanting to fight for them. To me, there is no better person than my sister, Shayla Favor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Next person to come before council is Chris Jones, followed by Jaron Murphy, followed by Tracy Robinson. Ms. Jones, welcome to council.
Greetings, Council President Hardin and members of City Council. My name is Chris Jones. I reside at 2745 Cary Drive, Columbus, Ohio. I'm here today in support of City Council candidate Dr. Chanel Jones, a good friend and colleague who has been recognized throughout the city and the country in many capacities as a community contributor, knowledgeable speaker, author, and criminal justice expert and educator. With issues of police and community relations being one of her many areas of expertise, our firm, Warhol & Wall Street, activated Dr. Jones to assist us with the Department of Public Safety's Change Starts Here campaign, an initiative by the Ohio Collaborative Community Police Advisory Board and the Office of Criminal Justice Services as part of Ohio's intensive agenda to improve community police relations. Now, with knowledge that this issue is, still a big one for us, the campaign's goals were to, and still are, to educate law enforcement on how to better interact with communities they serve by focusing on appropriate and effective programming, to educate the general public on strategies to improve community police relations, and to educate the community about the duties of law enforcement and the nature of their responsibilities in order to raise citizens' awareness and understanding of law enforcement's obligation to protect and serve the vital partnership between the two. In her role within the campaign, Dr. Jones served as an expert content contributor on the execution of our campaign that was created by the people of Ohio. She also served as the host of a documentary that we produced for Change Starts Here, chronicling the work that everyday community members and youth in Ohio, including right here in Columbus, are doing to create a better relationship with their local police departments, and what those local police departments are doing to create a better relationship with the communities they serve. Her expertise during this journey spanned across the state, and her ability to ask the right questions and showcase what these agencies were doing to affect change in their localities, what results they've had within the communities, and how others around Ohio, both police and community, can replicate their efforts or even use them as inspiration to start their own initiatives, proved invaluable. Dr. Jones also served as the host of our My Brother's Keeper program, summit that took place during the Columbus Police Academy, at the Columbus Police Academy during the Columbus Foundation's Big Table Talk last year with community officials. The summit gathered over 150 youth, government officials and community leaders, and over 30 Police Academy graduates to bring them together to talk about issues around police and community with our youth and the police. Dr. Jones is a strong leader here in Central Ohio who has a command over many issues that we face in our city, especially those centered around community building, community growth, and police and community relations. I believe she would make an excellent city council member for many years to come and support her as a candidate for city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. The next person to come before council is Jaron Murphy, followed by Tracy Robinson, followed by Kelly Renner. Seeing bless you. Mr. Murphy is not here. Tracy Robinson, followed by Kelly Renner, followed by Mr. Dale McCampbell. Let the record reflect, Tracy Robinson is not here. Kelly Renner, followed by Mr. Dale McCampbell, followed by Cara Johansen.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Kelly Renner, and I'm the Program Chair of Applied Psychology and Social Sciences at Franklin University. I'm here to speak in support of Dr. Chanel Jones for the position of City Council member. I have had the privilege of working alongside Dr. Jones over the past year, as well as collaborating on a research project for the Teen and Police Service Academy, or TAPS. The TAPS Academy is an 11-week program that primarily is designed to partner at-risk youth students with mentor officers to discuss issues including bullying, anger management, avoiding gang life, drug usage, and conflict management. Dr. Jones serves as the Director of Research for TAPS to ensure that the program is tackling important and relevant issues that affect today's at-risk youth. Our research collaboration is exploring the possibility that participation in the TAPS Academy serves as a protective factor against police officer burnout. Dr. Jones strives to ensure TAPS continuously works to improve police and community relations in Columbus. Additionally, I would like to take this opportunity to speak to Dr. Jones' character. Her generosity with her time, talents, and resources is exceptional. You've heard examples from some of her mentees today. Throughout our personal and professional conversations, Dr. Jones has expressed her passion for improving the community through her work, her research, her service on nonprofit boards, and her church. I have repeatedly witnessed Dr. Jones to be hardworking and compassionate while exemplifying the qualities of a true leader. Shortly after Dr. Jones was hired at Franklin University, we attended a meeting for all faculty. Unfortunately, many of us fell victim to groupthink. After fellow program chairs, department chairs, and even a dean spoke up in support of a meeting agenda item, Dr. Jones eloquently spoke, backed her counter-argument with facts and examples from her own teaching experience. She's self-assured, confident, and professional. Dr. Jones successfully swayed the faculty to go in an alternative direction. And it was that day that I realized Dr. Jones was willing to take a stance not only during our one-on-one conversations, but in all forums. This is the type of person that I want making decisions that influence the community. Dr. Chanel Jones has the knowledge, the leadership, and perhaps most importantly, the heart to be a successful city council member. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Renner. Next person coming for council is Mr. Dale McCampbell, followed by Cara Johansen, followed by Julie Keegan. Mr. McCampbell, welcome to council.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, and to all council members. Thank you also for allowing me to be here. I'm here in support of Mr. Nicholas Bankston. And I believe that Mr. Bankston will be an excellent candidate for city council. I believe Mr. Bankston will be a great member of this great council because of his dedicated spirit, his futuristic vision, his undying and unwavering love of his community, his neighborhood, and of this great city. He was born and raised and educated just a few short blocks from where we now stand. His example shines bright among people of all races, creeds, and colors. I'm proud to know that he has the courage to stand up for what he believes in. He is a man of courage, and courage is not finding the strength to go on, but going on when you have no strength. Nick knows that the real war is not Democrat versus Republican. It's not white versus black. It's not Catholic versus Christian. The real war is good versus evil. And I think Nick will fight for that which is good. I stand by him, and in closing I say, if Almighty God calls on me to fight in a holy war, I want Nick Bankston by my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCampbell. Next person to come before council is Cara Johansen, followed by Julie Keegan, followed by Mark Harper.
Thank you for staying so late to allow us all our opportunity to speak on behalf of our friends and candidates. My name is Cara Johansen. I live at 6900 Linworth Road in Columbus, and I'm here to recommend Sam Shim be appointed to serve on the Columbus City Council. I am both a parent of 2 children and a public school teacher in Worthington City Schools, where Sam serves on the school board. Sam is a devoted father to 2 exceptional kids, who both reflect the value that Sam places on the importance of education. Sam consistently has expressed his support for teachers in our district and his treatment and regard for my colleagues' work. Sam has aligned his support for the mission of the Worthington Education Association during our district's contract negotiations. Sam is one of the few school board members who regularly attends PTA meetings at all schools around our district. Sam recently spent hundreds of hours volunteering his time to organize materials, knock on doors, and publicize the need to pass our recent school levy and bond issue. Sam has been an asset to our public school system, and he has built positive relationships between the school board, the administration, families, and educators in our district. Sam is highly connected to our local community. Every time I spot Sam in public, he is smiling and engaged with the people around him. He truly knows no strangers, and he is a great person to ask about a new restaurant or local business. Sam is always out and about in Columbus, and he encourages his friends to also get involved with our local scene. He is a champion, a promoter, and supporter of the diverse experiences and places Columbus offers its residents. Sam is a driven professional with clear progressive values. He informs his decision-making with statistical evidence and is committed to advancing policy that will make our community safer and more accessible for all people. Sam's work with the Worthington Resource Pantry reflects his generous nature and altruism. Sam has worked to build a strong community where all are provided equal opportunities. As a lifelong Columbus resident, I am so proud of my city and its thriving and diverse and ever-changing landscape. I hope to see leaders who have a shared vision for continued growth, which is why it is my sincere hope that Sam Shim will be selected to serve on our city council. His passion, professional drive, and commitment to service make him a perfect fit for this position. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Johansen. The next speaker to come before council is Julie Keegan, followed by Mark Harper, followed by Scott Stockman.
Hi. Good evening, President Hardin and members of City Council. My name is Julie Keegan. I live at 6675 Lakeside Circle West in Worthington. I am here to speak on behalf of Sam Shim as a candidate. I am currently the board president of Worthington Board of Education, but I'm speaking only as an individual this evening. As was already mentioned, Sam and I are both members of the Worthington Board of Education, and as Sam also himself mentioned, a majority of our families do live in the city of Columbus. Sam and I met when he began campaigning in 2013 for his first term, and he was successful in unseating an incumbent, which is a heavy order, and he joined our board in 2014. Tonight has been an inspirational night just as an observer. I think we're all going to go home and feel like we could do more. But tonight I'm going to speak about 3 aspects of Sam's service from a practical side that I've seen as a fellow board member, and I know he would offer the same level of service to the city of Columbus and why it would make him a good council member. First, Sam is a team player. Although he is a fierce and energetic campaigner, once he takes the seat, he seeks consensus and compromise. He makes his position known, he listens to others, and he does look for common ground. Our board has had many a fierce debate in Sam's years of service, but not once has Sam been a roadblock to accomplishing the board's or the district's goals. He is not one to grandstand or make a point just to hear himself speak. He wants to get things done, and he acts as a member of the team. Secondly, Sam is someone who is willing to do the work. Over the years, Sam has served on various committees with a wide variety of duties in our district, and he has never shied away from any service. Most notably, he served on a policy committee which lasted a lot longer than we thought it would. All the board members agreed that it was a roll up your sleeves and get busy sort of endeavor. And he did a thorough and tireless job on a very lengthy, boring, and thankless process that really brought a lot of good to the district. Finally, Sam does a good job representing the district as he does his city and would his city were he selected. He attends many events, he makes himself knowledgeable about all relevant issues, he projects a positive image, and he's a good listener. We've heard already how many different events he attends and he's out and about. I think that would really add to his service to the city of Columbus, the ability he has to engage people. As I say, I believe he's done a great job for the Worthington board and believe that he would do a good job here as well. I thank you for your time, appreciate your consideration, and I wish you luck in your decision process.
Thank you, school board member. The next speaker to come before council is Mr. Mark Harper, followed by Scott Stockman, followed by our final speaker, Mr. Bill Huffman.
Well, hello. Council President Hardin, members of council, Pro Tem Stenziano. I come before council to discuss issues with our appointment process and to give my recommendation on who I believe should take that seat. This is the second appointment process that I've been engaged in as a citizen since I've been able to vote. Much like the last appointment process, I'm concerned with the lack of transparency during the application selections. What I mean by this is the lack of rules regarding equally vetting and communication with each of the applicant. I believe that there's too much secrecy behind the scenes between the application period and the announcements of finalists. My questions are, where's the public input regarding all the applicants, not just the 15 that are solely based on the subjection of the current sitting council, and also the time meeting. I don't believe meeting at 5 is very conducive to an average working citizen who works an 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 job. And personally, being part of the Greater Southeast Area Commission, I live and serve in an area that sort of doesn't believe that the body truly cares about itself and continues to grow agitated. But here comes the good stuff. When it comes to this seat, I, as a dedicated and involved Columbus citizen and a product of and part of the future of this city, do recommend Lourdes Barroso de Padilla to be appointed as our next city council member. After having a chance to get to know most of these great candidates at the New Leaders Council Forum on Tuesday, she was the one that truly struck me as someone who is relatable to the average citizen, someone who I can relate to and know will listen to all and bridge that gap of distrust, someone who has lived experiences that can truly transform the city with what it needs, issues pertaining to affordable housing, better access to transportation, and the approach we need to take through the lens of equity. Someone who shows dedication, determination, and a passion when speaking about the issues at hand. And also someone who can get someone to talk about it really good. Someone who believes in investing in our youth, the future of this city and all of our neighborhoods. These are two issues that I truly, truly care about. And someone I personally believe that we are truly, well, no, this is something I personally believe that we are truly lacking. But most of all, someone who will move us forward through that lens of equity and understanding through the policy that we are all simply human. Personally, it's hard for me and many of my generation to truly get 100% behind someone 100%, because we want to make sure that our words and our votes are really counting for something. But after this forum and the spark that she invoked in I and many in the crowd, I am behind her, standing here advocating for her, as I believe she, being a product of Columbus herself, truly knows the Columbus way and the future we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. The next speaker to come before council is Mr. Scott Stockman.
Thanks for having us tonight. And my name is Scott Stockman. I live at 221 South Sylvan Avenue. I am a Hilltop Commissioner. I am a member of the Kiwanis Club, and I sit on a small nonprofit in the Hilltop. During the day, I am legal counsel for the Ohio Senate Democrats. But more than that, I am a proud West Sider. And it's a hallmark of living on the West Side that you long to have a voice on the City Council. But it shouldn't just be any voice. I wanted to come here tonight for one person specifically, and that is Pastor Nancy Acauer. As the city turns its attention to the West Side and the Hilltop, through the Hilltop Community Plan and the Hilltop Business Association Economic Development Study that just came out, and numerous other measures, the need for someone from our community is more vital than ever. But Nancy is not just a voice for the West Side or the Hilltop, but rather a tireless advocate for the city of Columbus and its residents. She will go anywhere, she will meet anyone to make a connection or build a bridge to improve this city. And anyone who's Facebook friends with her knows just how active she is. Whether it's marshaling resources for our far West Side food pantry in a food desert, finding ways to address the lack of senior services in the Hilltop, or standing on the street corner with Columbus Public Health to counsel addicts about Narcan and fentanyl test strips, so that when you're in the throes of addiction, at least you can have a modicum of safety while you're out there. Pastor Nancy is on the front lines to make this city better. She is a woman of faith, she is a woman of action, and I believe that Nancy would be an incredible addition to this city council. She is a woman who wants to provide hope for others, and I sure hope that this city council chooses her for the appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And our final speaker this evening is Mr. Bill Huffman. Mr. Huffman, welcome.
Good evening, President Hardin, Council President Pro Tem Stenziano, and my favorite council members. Happy New Year to you guys. I haven't seen any of you since the new year came ringing in, so I don't come down here lightly tonight. This is my first time to come down here to speak on behalf of a candidate. I've been down here on other issues before council to address issues that have affected the Hilltop and Central Ohio in general, trash being one. But tonight, Nancy brings up a special point for us. We need representation here on the West Side, which we have not seen for probably close to 30 years. I'm asking council, like others has asked tonight, step out of the box. Bring somebody on council from the West Side that has a vision, that needs and sees what we need. She'll also be a vision for the city of Columbus, not just for the West Side. She is caring, passionate about what she does and how she serves the people that she serves, not just as a pastor, but as a community leader. I can say that with faith and confidence as a vice chair for the Greater Hilltop Area Commission, as an operations manager for my Project USA and the Hilltop Kiwanis. I can say this woman is involved in just about anything and everything that has to do that's positive for the city of Columbus. Let's bring her on board and make her part of a positive team, and you guys are that positive team. We thank you very much for your service to this great city of Columbus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huffman. With Mr. Huffman, that concludes the public testimony. Again, I want to thank all of our finalists were here this evening, all of them that put their names forward. First, I want to check and see if any of my colleagues have any closing comments they'd like to make. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Council President. I think it's important for everyone to appreciate the fact that this is a new process. And all of the candidates who came down and all of those who came in support, that we truly appreciate you taking the time out to spend time and to educate us about the respective candidates. The City of Columbus is on the precipice of change in a variety of different ways. You are also part of that change. Whoever we choose, and we've had spectacular candidates. Every single one of them are very, very competent, very, very capable. It is a tough choice for our colleagues to figure out who we're going to appoint. But then again, no matter who that person may be, each and every one of you will have an opportunity to vote and make a decision about who will serve on City Council. So from my perspective, and certainly I think on behalf of all my colleagues, we thank you for all coming down this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other comments from my colleagues? Just a reminder of the rest of the process. This council will go into executive session on Monday at 4 p.m. To consider the applications for the vacancy for Councilmember Jaiza Page's seat. At 5 p.m. we will take a public vote for that vacancy. The applicants do not have to come to council. They are certainly welcome to be there for that vote. But again, we are very, very privileged to live in a community that has the caliber of folks to step forward as the 15 that we will consider over the next few days. And then we will again go through this process as we consider the seat vacated by President Pro Tem Stinziano. With that, that concludes tonight's hearing. Thank you.